Good morning, everyone. Yes, we are dealing today about countermeasures for threats. Yes, in the previous session, we people have dealt completely about the threats. Yes, basically, there are n number of numerous threats, as like the computer hacking may take place, your passwords might be hacked, sometime your IP address will be hacked, correct? So even some of your clients' desktop is being hacked. A number of questions. Even that's going to get continuation with the amount of financial threats also, as like your payment has been deducted from the bank account, whereas it is not being reached to your vendor. Somewhere it has been reached, correct? So many of the threats are there. That was the list what we people have dealt. And today we are discussing about countermeasures for threats. Yes, a certain amount of measures are there. As of now, the list of measures what it has been displayed currently. These are all the main measures associated. The first thing is about intellectual property protection. So, with respect to the intellectual properties, very much everyone's concentration will always be there in how to look forward into intellectual properties and how to safeguard our intellectual properties. Yes, I was discussing some of the companies where they have been faced little bit amount of their threat concerned with the intellectual property, maybe especially into the movement of any of the medicines, maybe private laboratories, maybe some of the designs being made that might be concerned with the architectural design, or also even that can be extended to the design of any of the product, correct? So that might be hacked, or else that might be under threat. Somebody is being made use of your property which is being registered. Yes, we do have intellectual property rights. Once we are going to register, probably we may go for reducing that risk association or risk associated with that intellectual property. Okay, so registration is mandatory. And a second thing is about client's computer protection. There's always be it is one of the biggest sense of concern that sir, do we need to take care of our client's computer also? Yes, it is mandatory that your computer need to be protected as such, like you are not going to inject any kind of virus in some other's computer. If you are going to safeguard your computer, that is sufficient. Then your clients will be happy that when they are going to do the commercial transactions with your company, they are not going to face any kind of trouble, correct? So a small amount of Trojan horse virus may go for converting the complete amount of documents into multiples of empty folders. Then after some time the question is going to get raised as such, like in which folder I have saved and which is the original folder, correct? So it's almost such like where your computer need to be protected properly so that your clients should not face any kind of consequences. That's the second measure, countermeasure, what you can take for the threats. And third thing is about communication channel protection. Try to do the coding work. That's also to be called as encryption. Okay, so do the coding work properly. When you are going to do this kind of such coding work with respect to the public key, private key, okay, so when you're going to use the public key asymmetric, even about private key asymmetric, so it's almost such like where probably you need to understand this properly, as like if it is a public key, numbers as well as even the fonts, what you're going to use, that's going to be the association. Whereas symmetric private key, yes, of course, you need to use some of the symbols, then about even those fonts. That too, that font will be with caps letter, small, then numbers. Yes, private key is supposed to be coded with a practicality. Then your computer can be protected from any of the hackers. Correct? So that is the importance of communication channel protection and server protection. Yes, so you need to look forward into your IP address because assume that you have purchased some of the quantum of data from one of the company, and if somebody is making use of that data, absolutely, it's going to be one of the question that that much of capacity is being utilized or else hacked by somebody illegally. Correct? Used illegally by somebody should be protected. So where that threat need to have a countermeasure, server protection is very much essential. For your IP address, yes, you need to do the encryption activity. You need to give a public key properly. Correct? Even about access control and authentication. Yes, there are number of users. Try to make different accounts for different users. Correct? Computer is same, server is same, but numerous amount of users are there in the sense you need to create such kind of protection for the access control and authentication is very much as important. Maybe assume that your company do have your email facility also. Somebody may go for hacking your computer. Possibility will be there. Correct? So access control and authentication is very much essential that you need to create those many number of usernames as well as password. Then it is going to be much easier where access control and authentication can be taken very easily. Okay, and even digital signature from user, whatever the password you have given for their private account for the access control purpose, give the liberty to change their passwords. It is not mandatory that your password only need to be carried by your accessors or else maybe people who are all accessing your account. Multiple users are there. Assume that it is a bank. Okay, so for the bank purpose, all the employees they are designated with one or the other job and they have to tackle with one particular server. It is mandatory for them. Okay, one of the common website will be there for them, but users are numerous. So if you are making any kind of conditions as such like you cannot use, then work will not be done. Correct? So digital signatures from the users should be created. Then absolutely you will come to know from which time to so and so much time this server or computer is being used by somebody. Correct? Sorry. And the next thing is about username and password. Yes, those many number of users are there. Create those many usernames as well as password. Whomsoever they are using your server or website. Correct? That's going to be a value addition where you can give the countermeasure for the threats. And also try to have access control list with you who are all supposed to use on a shift basis, and by chance somebody is making use in some other's username and password in some other shift, that has to be alarmed. that alarm should be given to you as a manager. Then threats can be avoided there and there itself. Correct? That is the point. And probably with this note, we are going to end up today's session with the countermeasures for the threats. And tomorrow we are going to discuss about encryption, how the coding activities can be done. Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone.